In the last 2 months, 7 bodies have been found around New England. And while law enforcement is not connecting the cases, people online have other ideas. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward joins us live in Brockton. Bob, the talk is getting loud enough for police to address these rumors.
Rachel, more and more people online are paying attention to this. They are concerned that some or all of these cases might be connected and that a serial killer might be striking in New England. In some corners of social media, like Facebook, the idea that a serial killer could be on the prowl in New England is getting more popular. This Facebook group, New England SK, has nearly 9,000 members. And in other forums, people are posting their concern that some or all of the bodies recently found in New England might be connected to each other. Since the beginning of March, 7 bodies have turned up in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Some of the bodies are unidentified remains. The bodies discovered in Groton and Killingly, Connecticut, are close to a Rhode Island case. So far, law enforcement is not connecting the cases. However, the talk online has grown so loud that recently Groton, Connecticut police issued a statement that said, in part, regarding references circulating on social media about incidents in the state of Rhode Island, we currently have no information connecting those events to any of the incidents in Groton. Here in Massachusetts, the discovery of a human skull in Plymouth and another set of remains in Framingham is also being looked at. In the late 1980s, a serial killer struck the New Bedford area. 9 women murdered, 2 missing. Author Maureen Boyle covered the case at the time, and
I'm sorry. If there's that many women, and this is happening right now, why is this not on major networks? Why is this only on a local news channel? Was there someone arrested? Okay. Let's hope that that's the right person. Okay. The only other thing I have that's more recent is 34 minutes long. So let's listen to this one still.
She is skeptical that a new serial killer might be at work right now.
Just because you have bodies found in a variety of places in New England.
The reason that this drew alarm to me was because of my covering of Rex Heuermann, Lisk, Long Island serial unalive. Can't say the K word on TikTok. They think we're 5. So that's what drew my attention to this. And then I'm like, and how are we not being told that there could be a possible serial unaliver?
That does not mean that there's a serial killer on the loose in the area.
Boyle is concerned that online speculation can hurt people.
This is not a game. These involve real people. These involve real families. This is serious business.
I checked on the 2 Massachusetts cases. On that body that was found in Framingham recently, the district attorney's office is saying a case is under investigation, but it does not appear that person was a victim of foul play. Now, as for the remains of the human skull that was found in the woods of Plymouth, the Plymouth County DA's office says that case remains under investigation. Reporting live from Brockton tonight, I'm Bob Ward for your local station, Boston 25 News.
And this one alone is 9 days ago. So now it's trying to find one that's more current. Well, here's one from 3 days ago. Let's listen to some of this. It's a bit long, but...
The first body was found in Norwalk, Connecticut on March 6th. The 8th body was found this past Tuesday in Springfield, Massachusetts, 93 miles away. The cluster of corpses discovered throughout New England has triggered...
You're telling me that there's no possibility of a serial unaliver when we've got all of it right here in this cluster? I forget that you guys can't see my mouse move. I'm sitting here circling it like you guys could see it. All right, tell us more.
Fears of a serial killer on the loose. The bodies that have been identified were all women, though their cause of death has not been released, and police are not linking these deaths in any way, at least not yet. But digital detectives are hot on the case. Just do a social media search for New England serial killer, and you'll get something like this. From cyber sleuths to social media
Remind me to get into this group.
musings, speculation has fueled an online explosion. The official New England serial killer Facebook group already has more than 60,000 followers.
We need to be in this group.
And as long as female bodies keep turning up, so will the online fervor. In the most recent case from Springfield, an unresponsive woman was found near the city's riverfront. She was pronounced dead on the scene, and police have not released her name or her age. And in Groton, turning up, so will the online fervor. In the most recent case from Springfield, an unresponsive woman was found near the city's riverfront. She was pronounced dead on the scene, and police have not released her name or her age. And in Groton, Connecticut, police have also not identified human remains found there near a cemetery on March 20th. Now, it's human nature to look for connections and otherwise random data.
Them? They're driving me crazy.
Bear in mind that just because the bodies were all discovered within 6 weeks doesn't mean the victims were all killed in 6 weeks. In fact, there's evidence they weren't. So, is there one killer responsible or as many as 8? And
ma'am, if you'll do us a favor, TikTok thinks we're 5, so the K word isn't allowed on TikTok. Please say unalived. What does it say? It went up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take any Advil?
We don't have any more Advil.
You didn't get any when you stopped?
I didn't think about it when I was trying to hurry up, so make the appointment, even though they were minutes late.
You're probably going to have to go get some Advil because I don't think the other one will work. Sorry, hubby's sick.
which scenario is actually more terrifying? To the victims, the question may be academic, but perhaps they can still provide some forensic evidence that will help lead to the answer and save another woman's life. For more on all of this, let's go to our guest. Joseph Scott Morgan is a forensics professor at Jacksonville State University in Alabama and host of the podcast Body Bags. And Peter Valentin is chair of forensic science department at the University of New Haven. Thanks so much for joining us, both of you. Peter, we don't yet know anything yet about the causes of death here for any of these 8 victims, but 8 bodies in 2 months, that does seem like a lot.
I'll tell him when he
Yes,
comes back.
and thank you for having me, Elizabeth. Certainly the time frame is extraordinary given the circumstances. And the question that...
To clarify, 8 bodies have been found in the last 6 weeks. And you're telling us business as usual?
I'm running up to the door, so.
Grab yourself an ice pack there too. I know you don't want to, but you're gonna have to. You have to get the ice. Good morning, Hallmark. You're fine.
It brings up for me is sort of what precipitated the searches to begin with. And, you know, there's a range of possibilities here. Were the police tipped off? Were there a number of tips? Were those tips from the public? Were those tips from agency to agency? You know, and given the population density in the Northeast, you know, it stands to reason that, you know, interagency communication can be at play here, that a situation in one jurisdiction begins communication between jurisdictions that all of a sudden gives us a situation where we have more bodies being discovered than we ever would have had it not been for that level of communication. Because normally agencies are not engaged in random searches of areas, such as we're finding.
Joseph, some of the bodies we know are actually quite decomposed. How critical and how difficult is it to determine a cause of death? It's difficult, especially with bodies where the decomposition is pretty far along, right?
Yeah, and it's needed to, when you start throwing around the term serial killer, one of the things that we look for are patterns, of course. And
Sir, we're on TikTok. You can't use those words here.
so most of the time, if you have a singular
Give me
individual that's
banana.
engaged in this behavior, there's a commonality relative to what methodology they employ. And right now we have bodies that are so advanced in decomposition that the MEs have not released causes of death specific to these subjects. So that's going to be very important. And sometimes, I've worked so many of these cases over the years and covered them on air that many times they'll classify it as a homicide, and then they'll say homicidal violence. And that's the best that they can come up with. But we do have bodies that are intact, and still to this point, we don't have a cause of death yet on those either.
Yeah, Peter, Connecticut police say there is no known connection at this time and therefore no threat to public safety. It sounds like they don't believe that there's a serial killer here at work, even though there's a lot of people online who do.
You ready for true crime?
Well, I think it would be prudent to say that we don't know whether or not you have a single perpetrator responsible for one or more of these deaths.
We don't know either way.
Right. In most cases, there's a relationship between your victim and your offender, and what you're doing with your evidence is you're exploring the connection between those. And in a case like this, when you have a body left in an open field, you don't understand what that connection is between your victim and your offender, and now you're searching for physical evidence to establish that connection. And in this situation, with multiple bodies in multiple jurisdictions, we don't know if there even is a connection.
Yeah, I'm remembering the Long Island serial killer where we had, women's bodies who were...
This K word is going to get me banana. Good afternoon, Patricia. But that's exactly what I was thinking of first, too, was Lisk.
Found in various states of decomposition, many of them over a pretty extensive, parcel of land. But there were definite similarities in how those women were killed, right, Peter?
I think she just winked
Yes,
at you.
and it took time to recognize that they were actually the work of the same perpetrator, and it took forensic evidence to do that conclusively.
All right, so Joseph, the New England serial killer Facebook group already has nearly 64,000 followers. This has clearly touched a nerve among the public.
New England
Does this sort of
Serial
public
Unaliver is the
activation
name of the
help
group,
or hurt an investigation?
according to her.
Sounds like I'm waffling. It can help significantly, particularly if you've got individuals that are being discovered. But I urge caution here. Let's think back to the Lady Bird Lake deaths in Austin, Texas. We had bodies that were popping up in the river there
That are still
in
not
Austin.
solved.
People were saying that there was a serial killer there, and the police said there's no connectivity between these individuals. So we have to be very careful. I find it interesting as well that with LISK that we had in Long Island, now this is actually have an acronym for it now in New England called NEST, I think. So I'm seeing this kind of matching that's coming along.
Nest. They gave it a 5-letter name, too. And you're going to tell us that nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. What?
I urge everybody to take a beat, be very cautious about what they say, what they do, because maybe there is somebody out there perpetrating something, but we don't know anything. And look, we don't know what the police know, and we shouldn't know what they know because they're working these cases. We'll know all in good time.
With the public furor being what it is, it might be great for the police to, when
And it's going to get even more hot for you guys because we're going to make sure people know.
they do know something, give us that information.
Yep.
As in, these women died in dramatically different ways at, dramatically different times. There appears to be no connection. But got to tell you, both, this as well as I do, these bodies keep turning up. It's just going to fuel the public sort of hysteria on this. Joseph Scott Morgan, Peter Valentin, thank you both so much. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Remind me that we're diving into this later. I need to start my research, figure out what's going on. Because that was... Okay, so we got one News Nation. One. And everything else is local. Okay. Let me just skim our other headlines again before we start. Houston area real estate agent murdered in downtown Dallas. Suspect turns himself in. A student near Oak Ridge High School in Orlando has been struck and lost their life. Did you? Okay, hold on. At Elizabeth. There was a shoot. Is that, Susan, is that the Elizabeth one that Sandro sent me? Is that the one you're talking about? Okay.
So, it's time for a new truck. But you have this list of places to be and stuff to
Anybody
do.
need a
Between
new
getting the
truck?
groceries, going to work, and picking up the kids, finding time to buy a car seems so overwhelming. That's where Go Modern comes in. With Go Modern, buying a new vehicle is more flexible than ever. No guesswork, just buying and financing made easy. Visit the dealership to make sure you love it, or we'll deliver right to your door. With Go Modern, you're in control. Go Modern, the new way to experience the modern difference.
Make sure
I'm
to
pretty
come
choked up.
Good morning.
I don't even know what to say.
A deadly tragedy. Multiple people were killed after a vehicle drove into a block party in Vancouver late last night. And that's where we start this morning. Vancouver police say at least 9 people are dead and several more are injured after a car plowed into a crowd at the city's Lapu Lapu Day Filipino festival. Now, the exact number of victims is unknown. It happened around 8 p.m. local time. Authorities do not believe it was an act of terrorism, and the driver of the vehicle is in custody. Authorities confirmed he's a 30-year-old man from Vancouver, but did not share his identity. Prime Minister Mark Carney called the ramming horrific on a statement posted to social
Why is it
media,
just being
saying,
called a
quote,
ramming?
I offer my deepest condolences to the loved ones of those killed and injured, to the Filipino-Canadian community, and to everyone in Vancouver. We are all mourning with you. Good morning, everyone. Let's take a look now at our weather. Brian, what can we expect for the rest of the weekend?
Looks good. We've dried things out. We're going to cool things down a little bit too,
Awesome.
but it's still going to be a beautiful day to be outside.
Good.
As we check things.
I wanted to know about the shooting, so I'm just going to fast forward past the weather. Hope y'all don't mind. Okay, there we go.
Overnight in the Triad, police say a person is in the hospital after they were shot in Greensboro. Authorities tell us they responded to a call on the 3200 block of East Bessemer Avenue around 3 a.m. Now, no one has been arrested at this time, and there's no word on the victim's condition. Greensboro police say East Bessemer Road is closed between Huffin Mill Road and Elwell Avenue due to the shooting. An investigation is ongoing. Staying in the Triad, Winston-Salem police is looking for a suspect after a gun went off at 620 North Liberty Street. Authorities say they responded to the call around midnight. No one has been arrested at this time, no one was hurt, and nothing was damaged. Now to Eden, where authorities continue their investigation into a crash that claimed the lives of 4 people. North Carolina Highway Patrol says it happened Thursday afternoon when a City of Eden dump truck ran the stop sign at the intersection of Carroll and Church Streets and plowed into 6 men working on power lines. 4 of those workers were killed.
Why are we suddenly hearing so many stories about people taking their vehicle and running people over?
Their ages range from 30 to 72 years old. Now, at last check, 2 survivors are still fighting for their lives this morning. In the wake of this tragedy, community members gathered last night to pray for those impacted by that crash. Dozens gathered at Charlie Pool.
Oh, we're 40 minutes late. We got to get started on this, guys. Just so you guys know, we are essentially caught up. We're on day 5, but so are they. Yep, it's time for me to go too. We just need to pick one and just all flock to it. So we're on day 5, but so is the trial. I thought they were on day 6, so we will catch up completely today. Oh, and one more thing before I forget, all my product selling will be on my backup account. So on that account, that's where my showcase, I just started it over there. That's where it will all be from now on. Have you? That's funny because I was told that there was not really anybody covering it. All right, let's find it here. Let me get our Karen Reed. Should we do a facial? Not the zombie one, but the other one.
You did?
Nope, we gotta go all the way to the beginning, sir. Should we do just because I'm not happy with how I look today, so I'm okay with doing a face mask.